everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dishing It Out with Dana. I'm Dana, and today in my kitchen, we're going to continue with my famous scones. So go ahead and get your pad and pencil ready and come right back after this. Okay, so on today's show, we're going to start with showing you the pans that I'm going to be using. This is a preformed pan that all of you by now know that I like to use for my famous scones. These will make mini scones, and I like to use these pans. It makes it a lot easier for me. Now I've already sprayed this preformed pan. You can also use and make a larger scone by using a pan such as this. I love these pans. This eliminates the need for flouring my board and cutting them by hand. But if you do decide to do that and you do not have a preformed pan, simply make sure you use a cookie sheet, lay it with parchment paper, and then you can cut your scones and lay them on the parchment paper and bake them that way. Okay, here we go. So as you've seen my other shows, we've done pineapple scones, we've done raisin and spice scones, we've done blueberry and lemon scones, and now today we're going to do my cranberry orange scones. Delicious. Scones, as I always say, do not have to be bland, boring, and dry. These are spongy, they're moist, they're delicious. Okay, so let's get going. We're going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to be using 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. We have 1 tablespoon, which is equal to 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. We have the zest of 1 medium orange and the juice, and I'll show you that in a little bit. We're going to use 1 stick, and this is very important, of cold unsalted butter, cubed small. 1 stick of unsalted butter, once again cubed small, but it needs to be cold. That's a secret ingredient for scones. And then we have 1 lightly beaten egg, and we have our delicious filling. We're going to be using the cranberries. Dried cranberries, delicious. And you can use dried raisins, dried kiwi, dried apricot. You could really do anything you want in your scones. I use 12 ounces of dried fruit in all my scones. So that's a little secret too, so you'll know. I like my scones filled with the dried fruit. I don't like them to be kind of sparse. And if you like more, you can put more in. If you like a little less, you can do less. Now this is for, as well, we're going to use 1/4 cup, probably a little less than 1/4 cup. This is 1/4 cup of cream. You can use heavy cream, which works the best, half and half, or light cream. Either one is fine. It's 1/4 cup, but we're probably going to use a little less than that. At the end, we're going to be melting some butter. We're going to be spreading that on our scones at the end of the recipe before we refrigerate it and bake it. And then we're going to be sprinkling with sugar. So we'll put those aside for now. Okay? So I love using my KitchenAid. My KitchenAid is fabulous. I love it. I've been making scones in this KitchenAid for years. It works the best. Now, if you don't have a KitchenAid, don't worry about it. You can use a hand mixer or you can mix by hand. I find that my KitchenAid works the best. All right, if you do use your KitchenAid, you want to use this paddle. Okay, here we go. What we're going to do is start with putting in our dry ingredients. I'm going to put the 2 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of sugar. Get that right in there. There we go. And the 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And what we're going to do is take a spatula and just lightly mix it up. We want to make sure our dried ingredients are mixed. Sometimes with the KitchenAid mixers, you want to make sure you use a spatula to get down deep. When the paddle is on and it's mixing, sometimes it doesn't get quite to the bottom, so that is a tip you need to know. Just make sure your dried ingredients are mixed well. Okay, perfect. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add to this dried ingredients. Let's get my paddle. Here we go. Okay, good. So your dried ingredients are done. We've put on our paddle, and now we're going to be adding our 1 stick of cold unsalted butter. And we're going to put that right in there. See how easy this is? All right, there we go. Now, and let's just bring this baby up, and we're going to put this on a number 2 setting. I don't want the flour all over the place. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let that whisk and let that stir just lightly. We want the butter to be pea-sized pieces. So it's small cubes already. We want it to be little pea-sized pieces of butter, and that would be perfect for this recipe. And in general for scones. So we're going to let that go. Right. So while this is going, we're going to be zesting our orange for our recipe. And I have a small zester here, and it's smooth on one side and rough on the other. Use the rough side. And we're just going to lightly zest our orange. When you're zesting the orange, you want to not zest the rind. It works pretty quickly. As you can see, I am zesting the orange right down to the rind, but I'm not zesting the rind itself. Otherwise, it'll be bitter. So, we're going to continue to zest our orange. Our orange is completely zested, and let's see how much we have. We really want anywhere from 1 to 2 teaspoons, and that looks just perfect. Oh, I love it. That is probably 1.5 teaspoons of zest that we have gotten from that orange. Isn't that perfect? Okay, that's what you want. So we're going to turn off our mixer now. We're going to check our butter to see the size. It's now been stirring for quite a little bit of time. Now that's perfect. Yep. Pea-sized pieces is exactly what I want. So the butter cube actually turned into this little pea-sized pieces of butter. Perfect. Now we're going to bring our mixer down. We now are going to add our zest. Perfect. I love it. That was grand. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Now we're going to take our orange and we're going to cut that in half. All right. All right, so we've put our zest in and we have cut our orange in half. And now we are going to get the juice prepared for the orange, and we're going to put that right in, add to our mixture so far. Okay, so this is a great feature. I love it. This is an orange juicer. It has holes in one end, and you place the orange right in here, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a moment. I love these. These also do lemons, and it comes in a smaller size, and it's yellow for lemons, and they also have one for limes. They're a lot of fun to use, and they're very practical in the kitchen. Okay, so we're going to be juicing the orange right now in our bowl, and there we go. See, not difficult. Love it. Beautiful. All that delicious juice comes out. Awesome. You're going to take the orange, put it on the side with the holes, and you're just going to use this and you're going to squeeze it down right into your bowl. Beautiful. See how easy that is? I love it. I love these gadgets. So the juice and the zest of our orange is inside our bowl, and now we're going to add our vanilla extract and our lightly beaten egg. All right, we're going to put our paddle back up and mix that just for a moment. We're going to put that on a number 2 setting, a very light setting. If you could smell that, it smells just divine. Okay. So at this point, I'm turning off my mixer, and I'm going to simply take my spatula, and I'm just going to make sure I gather from the bottom. Just make sure you continuously do this throughout the recipe. Just try to gather all of the ingredients to make sure everything mixes nicely. Okay, at this point, what we're going to do is add our dried cranberries. There we go. Beautiful. That was easy. We're going to put our mixer back up and continue to mix. All right, after you've mixed your dried cranberries in for just about maybe 30 seconds, you're going to want to, on a very low setting, you're going to want to make sure you stir from the bottom your dough and make sure that, again, everything is mixed just right. Now, next step, we're going to be adding our cream. And our cream is going to be, again, 1/4 cup, but we're going to use a little less, okay? So let's see. And what I'd like to do actually at this point is I'd like to take my paddle off, remove the bowl, and show everyone what the dough looks like so far. All right, that comes off pretty easy. As you can see, we've got a little bit of dried ingredients still that we want to make sure that we mix in. So I'm just going to do that for a moment. All right, so I'm going to show you now. This dried ingredient feels pretty flaky, slightly moist, just very, very lightly moist and a little bit flaky. That's what you want. This dough looks really good so far. Now is where we're going to add just a little bit of cream to make it just the right moistness for our scones, okay? So we're going to start by putting our bowl right back on. Let's get that baby back on. We're going to put our paddle back on. And we're going to bring it back up. And now we're going to put it on number 2 setting very lightly. We're going to pour probably about half of this cream mixture so far. So that would equal about 1/8 of a cup to start. Yep, and I actually think that's going to do it. I like that consistency. You want your dough wet so it sticks to your hands but doesn't stick too much where you can't peel it off. Okay, I believe that is lovely. So I'm now going to remove the paddle and the bowl. I'm done with the mixer now at this point, and I'm going to show you the finished product. Now this comes off pretty simple from your paddle. Not too difficult. Okay, perfect. There we go. It smells so good. I smell that beautiful, delicious orange zest. And I smell those cranberries. Oh, it is divine. And the vanilla, everything just blends together beautifully. Okay, I don't need to flour my board again because I am simply going to mold these into a small size, probably the size of a small meatball is what I like to tell everyone. Okay, so let's just put that aside. And now we have our beautiful dough. Now I'm going to use my preformed pan, and once again I'm going to form these. Oh, this smells so good. Oh, you just want to have it right now. All right, so probably the size of a small meatball. There you go. You can see what this looks like in between my fingers. A small meatball, and that's going to go right inside my preformed pan. Now again, these are my mini scones. That doesn't mean that you have to do mini scones. You can do bigger scones. You can do whatever size you'd like. Just keep in mind the baking time will differ. You want to make bigger scones and cook them just about a minute longer to maybe 3 minutes longer, depending upon what they need. As you can see, this dough is sticking to my hands, but not that much that I can't peel it off. That's exactly the consistency that you want. Okay, I'm going to finish forming my dough into my preformed pan, and we'll be right back with the last step before the baking process. Be right back. Hi, we're back, and here we go. We're ready for the last step. Okay, I formed all of my beautiful cranberry and orange mini scones into my preformed pan. And by the way, this pan holds 16. This recipe will make approximately 20 to 22 mini scones. So that gives you an idea about how much this recipe will make. Okay? All right, the last step, we're going to take some melted butter. So I am using salted butter on these mini scones at this time. And the salted butter is going to give me just the right amount of salt that I would like for this recipe. All right, so we are done. We have now finished buttering our mini scones. They all look great and nice and shiny. And for the last step, we're going to add a little bit of sprinkled sugar on top. And that will give them the sweet that I want. So I've got a little salty and a little sweet. Perfect. Okay, this is the most important step. We're almost done. Everything is in the pan, they're formed, and now we're going to put this in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Yep, you heard me. That's the secret. You want to refrigerate these for 30 minutes. You want them cold before you put them in the oven. Once they're refrigerated, after 30 minutes, you're going to place them into a 400-degree oven for approximately 17 to 18 minutes. You want to make sure that the top is lightly browned before you take them out of the oven. So check them after 17 minutes. If they need another minute or so, that's fine. And we will be back with the finished product. And here we are, my famous mini cranberry and orange scones. Oh, the smells and the flavors that are coming out of this is just perfect. You're gonna wow your family and friends. And again, this is perfect for brunch, for tea in the afternoon, for dessert, for breakfast, any time of the day at all. Well, let's check it out. We're gonna try one right now. Let's pick this one. You see how spongy they are? They're nice and spongy, perfect texture. They're beautiful. Oh, they smell so good. And that orange flavor in here with the cranberry pairs beautiful. Let's give it a taste test. Wow. Those aromas just keep going. They bring your taste buds to a new level, I'm telling you. They're marvelous. Well, listen, I'm enjoying this all myself with a cup of tea, but I'd like you to join me. I'd like you to make them. And I want you to email me and tell me how yours came out. Subscribe to my channel, Dishing It Out with Dana, because we're going to have monthly contests. We may even be making a quiche after you. You're going to email us in. You're going to tell us your first name, what you like to eat. And if your name gets picked, guess what? We're going to make a quiche named after you. And we're not only going to do it on the show, but you also have a chance to win my cookbook on CD. All right, until next time, bon appetit.